Our professional this week is Nompumelelo Tlou. Nompumelelo is a young lady from Limpopo province in South Africa. She is a qualified social worker and she will be talking us through her career journey, the subjects she chose, where she studied, and a typical day in her life. Nompumelelo advises young people that if they do what they love, they'll never have to work a day in their lives. If you like this video, remember to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on our amazing series. Remember to share with your friends, as this could be helpful to them as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Nompumelelo Tlou and I am from a small village called Ramogorane outside of a small town called Groblersdal in Limpopo. I am 30 years old and I am currently working as a social worker, and I have been practicing as a social worker for the past 7 years now. And how I got into social work was that I took a gap year after matric and I wasn't sure of what to study, and someone advised me to apply for social work because there were bursaries. I remember at the time when I was applying, the Department of Health and Social Development was giving out bursaries for various studies including social work, and therefore I applied for that with the hope that I would also get funding for it. And that's how I got into it. Though in the beginning the studies were hard for me, I did not quite enjoy it, but as I progressed through the years, I started to enjoy it because it meant that I get to make a difference. I've always wanted to work with people, and as I was studying, I found that I was good at working with people and engaging with people. Initially, I did not want to study social work. I was more interested in psychology. However, I remember first year I wanted to go into studying psychology, and then I went to the Department of Psychology, and I met a professor who sat me down and explained to me that how long does it take for one to study psychology, what would be required before you can even practice as one. And basically the advice he gave me made sense because psychology is competitive, especially when you have to go into honors and the masters, and plus also issues of funding and bursaries. And at the time I did not have a bursary, and I was not sure of whether I would get one even when I get to my master's and honors year, and therefore that's why I decided to go with social work. But he did say that if I still had an interest in psychology even after I've graduated in social work, I can do so, but at least this time I would be able to fund the studies myself, meaning that I can pay for my own honors degree and master's degree, because funding is not easy to get funding when you are doing your postgraduate studies than it is for undergraduate studies. For high school, I went to a high school called Manglimang Secondary School, and the subjects that I chose to do were the subjects from the science stream, like your physical sciences, life sciences, agriculture, pure mathematics, and life orientation, isiZulu, English, and the likes. And the reason why I chose the science stream was because when I was still deciding on careers, I had an interest in medicine as well. However, unfortunately, I was not that good at maths, but I was quite good in physics and life sciences. So basically, my top three subjects were English and life sciences and my home language. And I think the subject that helped me a lot to get into university was my English and my obviously my home language, and passing also my physical sciences and agricultural sciences and life sciences, of which I did pass well, also just assisted me, boosted my APS score basically. But in social work, there isn't a specific subject that they look for, because basically it's mostly theory based, therefore meaning that there's a lot of writing that is done. So being good at English and writing and speaking English is an advantage. So that's what helped me basically, because my English mark was very good. Therefore, that's what helped me get accepted to study social work. So after completing high school, as I mentioned in the beginning, that I took a gap year because initially I applied for the Faculty of Medicine, but because my mathematics was not good, I was not accepted. Therefore, I took a gap year, and then I applied again during my gap year. I applied at the University of Limpopo and the University of Johannesburg, and I was accepted by the University of Johannesburg. And the reason why I went with UJ was because two of my friends were already studying there. So I just thought, let me join them, than go to an institution where I will be alone. And that's when I started my undergraduate studies until I did my final year. And my degree is a 4-year degree. The fourth year is an honors year. So it took me only 4 years to complete my degree. Fortunately, I did not have to repeat any modules. I did not fail, and I managed to graduate on record time. And what I could say kept me going was support from my family, because my parents were very supportive, even though they did not have money to put me through university. First year, I did not have a bursary, I did not have NSFAS. However, I did meet one student who told me about internal bursaries for students that are struggling to cover their fees and are excelling at their academics. So first year, I got an internal bursary from UJ, and they paid for my fees, and they paid also for my accommodation, and I got that bursary second semester, after I met that fellow student. And I will forever be grateful to him, really, because if it wasn't for him, I probably would have dropped out. And then second year, I applied for NSFAS, which I got. And then third year, that's when I got the Department of Health and Social Development bursary from Limpopo, and they paid for my fees for my third year and my fourth year. Basically, what I do at work is that I do counseling with individuals, families, and groups. I do group facilitation, and I also do community work. My community work entails doing prevention and outreach programs where we educate the community about our services or about social issues that are affecting the community. And basically, how my day starts is that I wake up in the morning, go to work. When I get to work, I need to check my emails, and then after checking my emails, normally sometimes the where I currently work, which is a clinic, they book patients for me, and then I start with my first patient, see them, and progress with my day, basically doing counseling. And sometimes before I see patients, I will just go at the waiting area and speak to patients, basically just raise awareness about my services, and also services that are available to them as well. That is what I do from the morning until lunch. And then normally after lunch, at the clinic, it's mostly quiet. So what I do is that I do my admin. Basically, after counseling, we have to write what we call a process note. So I will write my process note of what transpired during the session. If I run a group, I will write that. If I had a program, then I need to write a report, basically detailing what happened on that program, what transpired, who presented, who did what, things like that. And then after that, that is just about it. Just need to make sure that I complete my admin and then plan for my next day. Well, what I like about my career is that it is a career where if you are passionate about making a difference in people's lives, then you can definitely go for it, because we really make a difference in people's lives. And what I don't like about my career is that the growth can be very slow. Like before you get to management level, now the requisite, the last time I checked, was like you need to have at least 7 to 8 years experience. Some they say 10 years. So I just feel like it's a It's a lot of years to stay in one position, where else when you look at other careers, a person after 2 to 3 years, then they become a junior manager and then a senior. And but for us, the growth can be quite slow. And my profession is not everything I thought it would be because of also the compensation. um I will make an example, like if for social workers that are working in NGOs, the pay can be quite really less, in terms of, the remuneration. When I started working at an NGO, I was earning a net salary of 10,000 after tax. Um, so I felt it was, less given the amount of work that I needed to do, because there was a lot of work, but I felt the remuneration was a little bit small. And what I did for me with my first pay was that I gave it to my parents. I paid what I needed to pay and then blessed my parents, because I'm a believer that first fruits go to your parents. So that's what I did. In terms of where this career can lead you, in social work is broad. What I'm currently doing is generic social work, but there's also occupational social work. You can also do project management, basically become a project coordinator. You can work in private practice as well. You can draft manuals. If you stay in the profession, as you grow, you can become a supervisor. You can eventually become a director at a department. So there is growth. If you really work hard and put in the work and yourself out there, you can really grow. My goal for now in this profession is that I want to start my own private practice, where I will work with individuals that will pay me directly and not just being paid by my employer, and give me an opportunity to also work with private companies that will refer their employees to me. And for young people that are still deciding on what to do, I would advise that they look at what they are good at, and they research the profession that they want to get in, because I believe that times are changing. But more than anything, if you do what you love, there's a saying that if you do what you love, you won't have to work a single day. So I wish young people the best as they decide in their careers. I know it's not an easy process, but in the end, it's possible. And once you find what you love, it will be an amazing experience. Thank you and goodbye.